Hey everybody, this is Car Ray Rob.
I'm Ray.
I'm Rob. And tonight is night 2 of our Star Wars May the 4th countdown.
Rob, what do you think the next anthology movie is going to be? Before we start making some predictions about the next anthology movie, let's talk about where we've come from with these. Now, with Rogue One, right? We first heard about these anthology movies that they were going to be telling stories outside of the main trilogy, outside that main storyline. What did you think about that originally?
Well, when they announced they were doing it, obviously it was kind of coinciding with the whole announcement of Lucasfilm being purchased by Disney.
Yeah.
And I have to say I was worried because it just screamed Disney idea. Oh, I'm just going to market
cash grab.
Cash grab. Yeah, just constant cash grab. How can I get money out of this? We're going to make all these unnecessary movies about all these things that you're not going to care about, but we're going to make a ton on toys. That's what I really got from it. But
yeah,
Rogue One
came out, and I think totally said it's a great starting point for these movies, for this genre, this anthology movie kind of genre for them. And it did it in a lot of really good ways. They did their own thing. They told a story that was outside of the main trilogy, but close enough where, fans were kind of bought in.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think there's a lot of things that they need to keep taking as they move forward from this movie.
I think one of the things is you were talking about how the proximity to the trilogy that this storyline was. Well, obviously it was key in No New Hope. Obviously they got the Death Star plans.
Right.
But you knew nothing about any of these people that did it. All you knew is that somebody got the Death Star plans and a lot of people died doing it.
Yeah.
That's all you knew. So it was really smart. Another franchise that's doing that right now is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yeah.
When they were talking about spinning off the Harry Potter series, yeah, exactly. You get kind of, I don't know about that, but they took this really kind of minute detail from those movies and were able to kind of spin that off into its own thing. And obviously none of the characters are in it thus far. Maybe we'll see some down the road.
Yep.
But right now, nothing. I think that's really smart with Rogue One, and I'm hoping they can kind of keep doing that.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I think really worked just about the idea of Rogue One is that they didn't feel tied down to start a new franchise from this. They weren't trying to make a trilogy of Rogue Ones.
Right.
They didn't feel like they needed to branch these characters off and maybe then somehow sneak them into the main trilogy. Later they got really old. These guys are dead, so they're not coming back. So they just felt comfortable enough just to tell a really self-contained, strong story. And that's how they use anthology movies. That is going to continue to work.
Yeah. But we do know that the next one is the Han Solo origin story.
Yeah, that one I'm probably a little more nervous about.
I agree completely.
I don't feel like I ever felt nervous about Rogue One. I was always like, ooh, that's an interesting idea. Take that line from the scroll and make a movie. Han Solo is just he's such a key figure in the real trilogy. He's such a cool character, top 100 character anyway. I don't know if backstory is needed there. What do you feel about this choice?
I have mixed feelings on origin stories in general. I think it's a really kind of a cop-out thing now for modern reboots, remakes, reimaginings,
this
whatever.
Prequel thing.
Yeah, it's we're going to do a prequel. It's all going to be about the backstory, and all of that. Which, is great, from a writing standpoint. It's awesome to know backstory. But sometimes things don't need a backstory.
No, absolutely not. So that take a character like Heath Ledger's Joker, there's no backstory. They actually joke where he tells just different fake backstories. Just it's almost showing it's not important. You know why I'm this way. I am.
Yeah.
Just buy into me being this way.
The Michael Myers backstory that Rob Zombie did in his version of Halloween.
Yeah.
When John Carpenter made his, the backstory was clean, quick. You knew really all you needed to know. And it wasn't very cliche, even in what it was. Now, Rob Zombie takes the helm. It becomes this whole first act of this kind of hillbilly, cliche, of course this kid's going to be a serial killer kind of thing that you just shake your head and cringe the whole time while you're watching. Not that I necessarily think that's what's going to happen with the Han Solo origin movie, but it's just an idea that, like you said, it may be too close to the original trilogy that it's going to run the risk of just coming off cheesy.
And just too iconic a character to just, it's risky business, going after Han Solo and trying to make him better. Because, I feel like this anthology movie could be awesome. It could be a 9 out of 10. It still won't change how I feel about Han Solo because I really think he's awesome character as is. He's at the top of the echelon. He can't get higher. So all he can do is make it worse. So now I will say I like the hands that this movie is in.
Sure.
And I think I like the actors that they've chosen.
Yeah.
So I still think this. I'm not saying the movie can't be good.
Yeah.
But I am saying I don't know if it's needed.
Yeah. Well, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, I mean, they've done really great things with the Lego movies.
Oh, yeah.
And, I have no doubt that they can put together a really great movie. But the fact that they're doing it actually puts an interesting thought in my head and actually does give me a little bit of hope, because I think the way that this movie is going to work is it has to be a buddy comedy.
A Lando Han Solo buddy comedy?
Yeah. Like, Kathleen Kennedy, when they first announced these movies, said the anthology movies didn't have to feel like they were part of the original trilogies. Like, they don't have to have that same tone.
Yeah.
They can be their own thing. And even though this character is obviously, fundamental to those movies, this can be completely different. So I think if they can do this, buddy comedy in space, I think it could actually be a home run, but they have to go that route.
I hope they do. All right, Rob, so in the predictions video, you said that you don't think this month they're going to announce the anthology movie.
No, I think they're going to wait.
I think maybe that you're right, but I said that they will announce it. Just trying to hope cash in on a point there. But we want to predict or think about or hope, when they do announce this next anthology movie, what do you think /hope /want / it should be?
Okay. Well, I know that there's a couple of things that are floating around out there, kind of closer to the top.
Yeah.
One is the Obi Wan on Tatooine movie, post-prequel.
Keeping Ewan McGregor
trilogy.
Now was an old Obi Wan.
Right, yeah, that in between Return of the Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope movie, which I think that could be pretty interesting. But they'd have to kind of, in my opinion, keep it kind of a small movie.
Yeah.
Maybe, never not leave Tatooine.
Yeah, keep it there.
Yeah, I'm not going to say like full-on art house film where it's like, one man on the plains of Tatooine or something like that. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like,
he's not stuck in quicksand the whole movie. But
right, right, but it's not like this, huge space adventure either. I know another one I've heard about is a Boba Fett movie.
Yeah. But I mean, I think people have been, ever since anthology movies were first announced, people I think were screaming for a Boba Fett movie.
Yeah.
And I'm not 100% sure why necessarily. Like, love Boba Fett, but he's not that, he doesn't do that much cool stuff in all actuality.
No, it's true. When I was a kid, I loved Boba Fett. Every time I'd watch the movies, I was all about Boba Fett. But as you get older, you just realize, man, Boba Fett, he dies like a punk.
Right.
At the, in Return of the Jedi. Darth Vader's really the one that captures Han Solo.
Yeah.
Boba Fett just takes him to Jabba the Hutt.
Right.
I mean,
he just cashed in.
He doesn't do much.
And if you made a Boba Fett movie, the only reason people would want to see it is to understand why did Darth Vader say no incinerations. Like, that would have to be addressed in the movie.
Right.
That would be the whole. Why does he say that?
Right.
Who did he incinerate? So that'd be like the only reason to make that movie.
Right.
That one line of dialogue.
No, absolutely. And I mean, we're not talking about, as far as the Boba Fett character goes, I know there's a lot that he does in the expanded universe,
sure.
but we're literally talking about just the movies, so Star Wars nerds, don't get too crazy.
Yeah, so that's a choice. Guillermo del Toro, Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
He's like throwing out that he likes that character. A Rogue One sequel story about like stealing the plans to the second Death Star.
Yeah.
A Yoda movie.
I don't think anybody would want that.
No, you take the biggest Yoda fans in the world, and they will not want to listen to that dialogue for a whole movie.
Yeah.
Come on. And I don't know, I think maybe I heard like a Kylo Ren kind of Knights of Ren story, but I think that's like way too attached to this.
Yeah, I think anything
won't give them
going
any room.
Yeah.
In their own trilogy to do
right,
anything.
Exactly. Anything that's going on right now, I think they just need to leave.
Yeah. So officially, what would you say then of those kind of 5-ish stories? What do you think could actually work? I mean, I guess we've kind of said.
Yeah, I mean, Obi-Wan for me really works, and I think, Ewan McGregor did an interview or something snippet recently where he said that he would be totally into it if they did it. I think it's smart. He's aged some, since the prequel trilogy. He could easily
you wouldn't have to age him up much.
No.
Depending on how old, you still could do this 10 years before A New Hope.
Yeah,
I mean,
easily. So, I think that would kind of be what I'd be most excited for.
Yeah, and maybe throw Jabba the Hutt in there. If
Sure.
you want to keep it small on Tatooine, use Jabba the Hutt there. Maybe even use a little bit of Boba Fett there, but keep it on Tatooine. And then I think, like you said, and kind of like what the idea, what I think of the anthology movies is find a different tone there. Like do something you haven't done yet. just do it with that character in that location.
Yeah, no, you'd have to. Otherwise, you'd run into that cheese factor that
And
I just don't think anybody wants.
I think that's going to be my prediction too. I just think there's enough smoke there that there has to be fire. That I think they're holding off on this. And some people say the reason why they haven't done more with Obi-Wan and some of the other stuff is because they're saving it for this movie, or possibly I heard even maybe a 2-parter.
Oh, that could be cool. Yeah.
So that's what we think in Obi-Wan.
Yep, Obi-Wan. All right, everybody. It's time to let us know what you think about the next anthology movie. Is it going to be Obi-Wan? Is it going to be Boba Fett?
And why is everything Boba Fett so cool?
We want to know about it in the comments below.
Then hit the like and subscribe button so you can catch our next video in this series.
Until then, this is Car Ray Rob.
I'm Ray.
I'm Rob. What do they have?
It's a rare blood disease called stick it to the man neosis.
What's that? I've never heard of it.
Well, you're lucky, because it's hell.